The Carolina Cats are coming back, baby.
What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome, everybody, to today's video where we're going to talk about our expectations for the Carolina Panthers in this upcoming football season. But before we jump into the video, I want to remind you quickly about our upcoming Puppy of the Week segment starting as of when this video is released tomorrow. Check out tomorrow's Power Rankings video. The end of the video will feature the Puppy of the Week. So if you want your dog featured on the channel, be sure to fill out the form. The link is posted down in the description. And another reminder, this video is being recorded Wednesday, August 28th, so almost a full week before its release date of next Tuesday. And the reason for that is because we are out of town this weekend, and so we have to record early just to have the video out in time, because we won't be able to record, edit, and get it out to y'all by the set deadline. So with that out of the way, T-Bone, I am going to toss it over to you. Give us your thoughts on the Carolina Panthers.
Well, first I'd like to real quick address the one of the trades that we had did. So, we had traded Michael Barrett, one of our linebackers, for Michael Jackson, the cornerback, not the singer. And I think that was a great trade. It was funny. Really, we had looked at all the transactions recorded, and not like a day or two after, it's when the Panthers are doing everything. I'm okay with that. Michael Barrett, could have been something. He was a low draft pick. He did look nice at Michigan, but he was a low draft pick. He was on the practice squad. He wasn't showing out. He was kind of struggling, reports say. And then Michael Jackson's a solid depth piece, nice veteran. So, and with the injury prone, secondary that we have, not a bad choice at all. I think it was a 1-for-1 swap, and I am down for that. I absolutely think we won that trade. Now going into the season, we have a very, very easy schedule. We're having nearly all of the rookie quarterbacks.
You got the other one in the preseason.
Yeah, exactly. So we're killing all the two birds with one stone. I think this is a very nice schedule to ease us into the Canales era, which I think will last longer than half a season. Everything's fitting better. Everything's working better. That doesn't mean jack. Doesn't mean jack till it's the actual season. So I was optimistic. And I decided I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to subtract 2 wins from what I think. 2 or 3 wins from what I think. You're looking at it, okay, we have a New Orleans, dysfunctional. Las Vegas, dysfunctional. Chicago, don't believe in them. Washington, don't believe in them. Tampa Bay, iffy. Dallas whips us. Chargers whip us. Bengals whip us. We swap with Atlanta. Denver, iffy. New York Giants, we beat. Kansas City, whip us. Philadelphia whips us. Arizona, we beat. I'm saying all these things, right? No. Just the fact of the matter is, half of what I said are going to beat us in a stupid way. Because we're still the Panthers. And the Panthers are going to do something stupid. But do not let that detract from the fact that our future is fruitful and bright. We are. I would say that we are in a brighter spot. Now we're basically starting from square one, same as last year. So it could very well not work out. I've got a feeling, but I'm withholding some of my optimism. You're only getting a little piece of it. I'm cautiously hopeful. Overall, we have our starters. Pretty much everyone's decided. We've released a couple guys that I'm not so sure about. We released Amir Smith-Marset, which is kind of sad because he was our little gadget guy that could do a lot. Nice, returner. on his birthday. So we're clearly heartless as we always have been, but that's just the business. Other than that, here and there, a couple of people that have struggled or injuries, but overall, we've really gotten our team down to the down to the letter. We've got our starters. Bryce Young, number one, Chuba Hubbard, number one, Deontay Johnson is the de facto number one. Adam Thielen's the slot guy. Um, we've shored up the offensive line. Tommy Tremble's questionable, so is Ian Thomas, but I'm not so worried. Other than that, we have obviously shored up the defense, as you know. We brought in, we have our defensive coordinator. We brought in some of his guys, which has been working well. We've been working well. Everyone's been working out after practice. Everyone's really cohesive. So I'm very excited. I may not sound it. I am. I'm very excited. I think we're going to do better than last year because we hit rock bottom. No, can't say that. We had two wins. Who knows? But basically, we hit rock bottom, and where you can only go is up. So now, time for floor and ceiling. Floor. I'm going to say it. We could go 1-16, easy. If we are just as dysfunctional and just cannot get anything together, we could go 1-16. That is the floor. Floor is 1-16. We can eke out one measly win. We could go 1-16. As for the ceiling, I would say we could eke out 6 or 7 wins. We could do more than that. I don't believe it. I believe what we are absolutely capable of doing is 7 wins. Absolutely. What we can really do is 7. So, overall, just, yeah, you know what, 7. Heck, yeah, 7. We'll say 7. We will say 7. We're not evil. I'm not going to say 6. I will say 7. I think we can eke out 7 wins. We're not, obviously, we're not in contention for anything. I mean, we could be, but we're not. Because we are in the weakest division. It's gotten stronger this past offseason, but it is still the weakest division by far, bar none. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to try and suss out the competition and try and prove that we are at least better than some of the other guys. Because everyone, I mean, maybe the Saints, I'm trying to think of, crazy new off-season people. Tampa Bay is, most people on Tampa Bay have been drafted by Tampa Bay. I just read that somewhere. It's crazy. But Tampa Bay is my de facto number one. Falcons have a new fancy-dancy team. Saints are the Saints. And we're the Panthers. We're still the weakest division. We still got the weakest teams. I fully believe in my heart of hearts that we could absolutely whip some of these guys. And I don't know. I hope we're not the last in the division. I don't know about that. I know we're not going to be number 2. A nice uptrend from here is really, like, what to look out for is really not what we're doing. Really not what, we're not trying to try and make it to the Super Bowl. Obviously, we're going to try and win every game because that's the thought. That's not going to happen. That's just logical thinking. So what a Panthers fan would probably want to look out for, because I know what I'm looking out for, is tracking the competition, especially in the division, tracking the whole league, then microscoping on the division, checking out our team and what we're doing, and furthermore, checking out Bryce Young's development. Year 2, big year. So that's the most important thing, I think, for me, and I think for a lot of Panthers fans, is checking out that development. Hell, we don't even need a lot of these wins. Let's just see Bryce Young take a step further. Let's see the Green Bay Packers game, but for a couple more games. So, with that being said, I think that's my 2 cents. Really, the bread and butter of what we're going to want to focus on is his development. Looking at him, looking at the offensive side of the ball, because defense could be better, but it was the better of the 2 sides of the ball. So let's take a look at that offense, and let's take a step forward. Really, that's what we're going to go for right now, and we're going to try and take a step forward. Honestly, If we can get 5 wins and it's not and it's not complete dysfunction, that's a win. That's a win. Taking a step forward. Also tracking how David Tepper, how he conducts himself. I think that would also not be a bad thing to do. Other than that, that's my 2 cents. Vegas, what are your thoughts?
I would argue that you don't give the Carolina Panthers enough credit.
Nope, not even gonna entertain that. Because guess what happens? I do, and then boom, I get my heart crushed, and we suddenly go freaking 8 trillion. Oh, and 8 trillion. So no, I do not. I do not give them. I do not give them anything. They don't need anything. They're a professional football team. They'll prove it themselves.
Well, this is a professional football team that improved at by far its biggest need and went out and got absolutely big names at offensive guard. And you saw a huge reason why the offense struggled last year is because the offensive line was not healthy and it was not good. And Bryce Young was running for his life constantly. I think you're going to find with the new coaching regime, I think you're going to see Ike Ekwonu get closer to what he was as a rookie. And I think you're going to see the interior offensive line take a massive step forward just because of the fact that you don't have Chandler Zavala, who I like, but, you're talking about a mid-round rookie starting for you week 1.
No, we're definitely improving.
I think Bryce is going to have time to throw the ball. You also talk about getting Deontay Johnson, who I do have some questions about, but that still is an upgrade for your offense. You have Adam Thielen, who had a good year last year. You have Chuba Hubbard and whatnot. I think that you... And also Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette is a guy who I think could be really good for Carolina. I think that's another guy who could prove a weapon. You have Johnson, Legette, and Thielen. I think that's a pretty solid receiving core, and I think those are guys who Bryce can throw the ball to certainly much better than what he had last year. And if Jonathan Mingo is able to take a step forward too, that's 4 pretty solid receiving threats. And if Tremble's able to play well, if Hubbard's able to play well, if Brooks is able to play well, that, y'all are gonna have, I think, a better offense, and I think the defense got better too. I love the Josie Jewell signing. I think that's really big. The Michael Jackson trade, I think, is really big for your cornerback room and the depth that it needs. So I really and truly am a huge fan of the moves the Panthers have made. I think they have greatly improved their roster, and I also think the coaching is going to greatly improve too. I think you're forgetting about the fact that 2022, the Panthers had a worse roster than this and had traded away their best player for, quite frankly, not nearly enough, and still almost beat out the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a playoff spot. And again, that was a weaker squad than this, but what that squad had is buy-in. They had culture. And if Canales is able to establish that buy-in and that culture, the Carolina Panther way, which is grit and toughness, and we will outwork you, will get Carolina past a lot of these teams, especially in a weak division with a weak schedule. You talk about getting to play New Orleans twice. I have a hard time seeing New Orleans win either of those games. New Orleans is a completely dysfunctional hot mess. The cap situation over there is not good. They're not going to be good for a while. They do not have a good coach. They're going to be the worst team in the division. I would bet on that easily. You talk about a completely dysfunctional Las Vegas team. That team is going absolutely nowhere, especially in its division, which is really difficult. You talk about Chicago. There's a lot of optimism in Chicago, but Chicago always finds a way to disappoint, so you never know. And also, is Caleb Williams' inexperience going to be a problem against a really good Panthers defense? And you have Evero, the coordinator, who's a great coach. And then, obviously, games with Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta's just a guaranteed split. Like, you're going to win one, they're going to win one. Both games are going to be crazy, weird, and wild. One game's going to be, 55-54, and the other game's going to be, 3-2. Because that's just how it goes with y'all. In division games are just
Oh yeah,
weird. You talk about, Washington, you have a rookie quarterback, not great head coach in Dan Quinn. I don't know why they hired him. He is awful. And a not great roster. I mean, it's just, you know, there's
actually,
questions there.
I am high on Washington, but
I
no, it
I
you don't
like I
know. No, no,
like
no. Hold
Jaden
on, Dan
Daniels,
Quinn.
but I think there are definitely still a lot of problems in Washington.
Dan Quinn will get you to the Super Bowl. Didn't say he'll win it.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll get there off of legendary quarterback play. And then he'll blow a 28-3
And
lead by
Julio
being an
Jones carry job.
absolute dumbass. He is the reason
I
they
will
lost.
say,
No one hate on Matt Ryan. Dan Quinn is the reason they lost that football game.
I will say, um, speaking of the devil, he will appear. As we said, we would like to see Bryce Young play in some preseason. He got in. He got in for a little bit. He went 6 for 8 for 70 yards with a touchdown. So
Yeah, and
I,
I'm glad you brought that up because again we talked about it. We need to get those guys. I think a little at least warm up, get them going. Not play, they didn't play him a ton because obviously injury concerns, but you saw an offense that looked already 10 times better than what you saw last year. Obviously it's preseason,
and
vanilla
even with
defense, probably a lot of backups on the other side, but you're talking about still just being able to function at an NFL level, that's not something the Panthers could do last year because they were so injured, didn't have receiving weapons, and were completely depleted and very bad at the offensive line. Bryce was running for his life. That will not be the case this year at all. I think you're going to see a huge
there
step
was
forward in the offensive line. Bryce is going to have time to throw the ball, and Bryce has shown that he is a very accurate quarterback. And if he's able to continue to show that accuracy, he's got better guys to throw the ball to. So the offense looked good in the preseason, and I think it gives Panthers fans a lot of optimism. So, and I have optimism for
what was I gonna
Carolina
say? It
too.
was
I'm rooting for this
well,
team.
yeah, but I have optimism. I'm just not going to be burned again. I'm just not going to do that.
Well, I
But
don't have Super Bowl expectations
yeah,
for y'all.
well, I don't know if I have playoff expectations, but there was you could see how the O line had developed and evolved. Even though you said and I agree it's vanilla defense here and there, but you could see the evolution and the vision. And even when the O line may have gotten overwhelmed or they didn't want to overexert themselves and they were just gonna maybe Bryce Young got a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit uncomfortable. The evolution of his pocket presence, his pocket awareness was leaps and bounds. So not only has the protection gotten better, but if the protection fails, he's got plenty of experience, and he's definitely evolved on one how to take better hits, and two evading the hits and going on the run and throwing. So it is awesome. I was looking at some other highlights or lowlights, I should say. Um, some of the last year was on Bryce. It was more on the team and not developing him as well as they could have, and some of the idiotic decisions that some of our receivers made. So
That
I am
one
optimistic.
that one
We will be better.
Jonathan
That's
Mingo
just a
play
fact.
will be burned into my brain forever.
I was actually thinking of the DJ Chark fumble outside the end zone.
Well, that one's always fun too, but the Mingo one is just so iconic.
Yeah,
But regardless, you have Washington, a lot of question marks there. Denver, we have no idea what that team is going to be. New Orleans, again, they're not going to be good. The Giants are going to be a crapshoot this year. Then you're going to have Kansas City. Now, your big advantage of Kansas City, you're coming off the bye. You have 2 weeks to prepare. Do I think you're going to win it? No. But I think Kansas City will honestly be a really, really good litmus test for what are the 2024 Carolina Panthers. Who are they really? Because you're 12 weeks into the season, you've had a chance to get your feet on you. You've had a relatively easy schedule so far. Only 2 or 3 teams that are truly very good, really difficult to beat teams. Like, okay, beating every single team in the NFL is really difficult, but like we're talking on another level, really difficult. And so you talk about, all of that. I think you're gonna really get to see who the Panthers are. How do they handle adversity? How do they handle the big teams? And honestly, if they pull an upset against either Kansas City or Philadelphia, I think that is huge for this team in the future and just the motivation factor and everything else. And then you talk about, Tampa is going to be really tough to beat both games, but Arizona, I don't think will be a problem. I do not like their coach. I do not think he will be good, and I think that's going to cause a lot of problems with Arizona, with the locker room scheme. I think
We also have
even
their
with
number.
Murray, if Murray's able to stay healthy with Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously that's really tough, but I still don't think they're going to be particularly scary. And so you think about how many not great teams are on here: New Orleans twice, Las Vegas, Chicago, Denver, New York, Arizona. There's a lot of wins out there that the Panthers can go and take. And I think they win at least 5 games this year. Like, honestly, I would say the Panthers and Patriots probably have the same floor and ceiling. Now, I think Carolina wins 6 to 7 games. But I also think with a schedule as easy as what they have, if they're able to get going, if the team is able to figure itself out by week 13, that's huge. I think not playing Tampa Bay until week 13 is a huge win for Carolina because Tampa Bay will be the best team in the division, most likely. That's going to be the team that they have to beat if they want a chance at winning what I think is a very winnable division. And if they are able to find themselves by that point in the season and pull off a couple of upsets against Tampa Bay, they will put themselves in a prime position to make the playoffs. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a long shot, but I think the Panthers are a better team than you give them credit for, than most people give them credit for, to be honest. Everyone just assumes bad record last year, bad record this year, and I don't know why people keep assuming that. I mean, just look at Houston, for crying out loud. Look what they did last year. No one going into the season had them doing what they did last year. If Houston can do it, why can't the Carolina Panthers? T-Bone, your thoughts?
You talked about culture. This is my final thing. You talked about culture. I can definitely. I think I may even have rose-colored glasses last year. You can feel the difference with Canals versus Reich, and I was very excited for Reich, but it just didn't take. Canals is really getting down and dirty with the players, and it's just they feel more comfortable around him, and it's just a guy who you're willing to fight for, and this just feels like a very more cohesive team. Last year felt like they were trying to force a narrative. This feels very natural. It's a very natural, cohesive team that's going to do good because everyone likes them. Everyone's enjoying each other's company, which is good. So I think we are taking a step in the right direction with the culture. So
I would tend to agree with that. I think all around, the Carolina Panthers are going to take a step in the right direction. It's a lot like the New England Patriots. Both of our teams are in very similar situations, I would say, where you are still a young team, you're still a growing team, you're still a team figuring out what you have, but this year is a chance to really see how good are you really, and do you have the pieces in place to come back next year and be better and challenge for a playoff spot and maybe even a playoff run. And I think the Carolina Panthers are a team, if they make the playoffs this year, which due to the weak schedule and the weak division, I think is within the realm of possibility. If they make the playoffs this year, I don't think they go on a run, but I think it would be a huge confidence booster to a team that's probably going to get better next year with Bryce Young, who's probably going to keep getting better as the years go on. I think around year 4, year 5, he'll hit his peak, but the fact that he still has a few more years to really grow and become a great NFL quarterback, if the Panthers do really well, I think there should be a lot of optimism down in Carolina. Alrighty, that is going to be it. So, please let us know your thoughts on the Carolina Panthers. What do you think their floor is? What do you think their ceiling is? How do you feel about the roster? What are your expectations for the Carolina Panthers? If you want to share your thoughts with us, please leave them down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.